Hey everyone, welcome back to the 12 Days of Christmas. Today's tutorial video is painting greeting cards. We're going to be painting a variety of trees and a variety of greeting cards. I'll be using the Master Touch watercolor greeting card pack. Super affordable, $7.99. Love the paper. And I'm going to use the Strathmore color pencil paper for just quick sketches. I'm also going to be using the Daniel Smith watercolors. So I'll just show you the colors here, primarily green colors. The iridescent taupe is much more of a gold color. All the other ones are very green. So take note of the ones that I'm showing you and we'll jump into it. I'll also be using the Winsor Newton Designer Zinc White Gouache to add some additional details and elements. I wanted to capture the sketches in my sketchbook as quickly as possible. I knew that I wanted to go in with pine-styled trees. I looked at various pictures on Pinterest and captured the elements of the card itself. I'm also going in with different layouts, so you'll see that I wanted to try to bring in a variety of green. I use one green per card for the most part, with the exception of that gold taupe color. I really enjoyed the Daniel Smith on this paper. I think this is a great beginner paper. It is double-sided, and I think you have the option of flipping the card either way. There's one side that is a smoother side and one that has a little bit of a rougher texture. It's all preference based, I think. So going in with this first card, I wanted to create a pattern-like tree effect. So I'm going in very loosely and just thinking of something that beginners can really accomplish. And there's nothing more special than receiving a handmade card. I think these trees are very attainable for beginners, so I went in with creating the stump first and branching things out, literally adding the branched elements. You can always go back in and add more pigment wherever you see fit. I also fluffed up some of the trees. Then going in with some of the shadows on the ground and creating that sense of depth with the different heights of the trees. So that's card 1. With the second card, I continue the horizontal layout of the greeting card, and the iridescent topaz is just my favorite gold. It is just so pigmented and very gold-like with just some hints of green. I really enjoyed the iridescent quality of it, honestly. This particular tree is much more fuller. I love the quality of the brush effect that you can get by going back and forth and creating sort of a flicker motion. In this particular clip, I was having trouble separating the colors. They kept on sort of overflowing into each other, so I had to grab my towel and clean up the colors a bit. But jumping back into the trees, when you're creating your own cards, making sure that things are simple, keeping it simple is the best way to go. I think always changing the heights of things can create some visual interest You can also work on different patterns. I think for these particular cards, I did have an opportunity to go back in with the gouache, so that was super nice. And you'll see that I come back to all of the cards again so that I can add some more elements. So I'm letting those dry. Using the Princeton Neptune brushes are by far the best things. I love using those. But if you don't have access to the Princeton Neptune brushes, using any sort of synthetic type of brush can still get you the same effect. So if you're on a budget and are looking to create your own greeting cards, definitely just grab any sort of thing that is affordable to you. So that can be the Crayola watercolor palette and some of these cards, and that can definitely still get you the same effect. Finding some color pencils and any other things that are suitable in your budget realm. With this next greeting card, I wanted to create the illusion of a nice landscape full of pine trees, and I soon go back in with the designer wash and create an illusion of either the snow has just fallen or the snow is melting away. So adding details and allowing yourself to create that interest within the landscape. So I think going in with simple tree designs is definitely helpful. And when you're going in with a landscape, you can always build things up. I made the error of over wetting my paper, so I had to curl it the other direction to allow it to lay flat. So if you do end up in that situation, just maybe use a blow dryer or using a napkin of any sort to absorb that water. The technique that I'm using now is sort of a dry brush effect and giving yourself some different trees within the card can create some sense of variety. So the trees that are closer up front are a little bit different than the ones in the back. All right, so with this next card, I wanted to create linear styled trees. So these trees are less realistic, and I essentially just create lines and pull the branches out. So very simple. Anyone can definitely accomplish this look. With this particular card, I actually messed up and forgot to hit record. So you'll see that I redid the card. And the cool thing about these cards is that if you do happen to mess up, you can definitely fold the card the other direction and almost create a painting on the inside. So you'll see shortly that I have a tree on the inside of this particular card. I think overlapping some of your trees creates some visual interest. So working things the way you see fit. And here is the inside of that card. You can definitely add little details to the inside of your cards with these. For this last card, I wanted to create another field of trees. This time the trees are much more closer to us, and you'll see that I need to let some of this card dry a bit before I go back in and touch things up. So if you ever feel that you quote unquote messed up, I think just let things dry, come back to it, and add a little bit more. You can always touch things up once they've settled down and let the pigment rest for sure. So, again, making sure you're mindful with the water quantity. I did the same error with this particular card, and I kind of got the blossoming effect with watercolor. So I do go back and adjust a couple things in that particular card. So after adding the first layer of details, I go back in with the designer gouache and add some snow with different brushes and create a much more visually interesting card. You can always use a mixture of watercolor and gouache, which creates a nice effect to that white. I loved how the iridescent topaz mixed with the white and some of the other greens. So don't hesitate to mix any of the colors. You can definitely branch out and use a variety of colors. I think just to keep things simple for beginners, using one color and watering things down with white or water makes things a lot more accessible and less intimidating. So you can see here that I went back into that last card and just adjusted some of those branches with white, added more pigment, allowed the effect to look more snowy. So here are all the final cards. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Anyone can definitely get these cards done. I really enjoyed making all of these, all the snow details. So much fun using just one color in different shades. And I hope you like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.